Hi, Mark Rothfield here for Club Marine TV, and this is the Maritimo S55 motor yacht. We're not testing it today, but rather some very smart Raymarine technology that's built in. It's called YachtSense because it makes sense of all the complex electronic componentry that's aboard. Thinking back to when I started boating, paper charts were cutting edge and phones had curly cords attached to them. Nowadays, just like with your home and car, there's satellite communications, air conditioning, fancy lighting systems and more. Literally hundreds of kilometres of wiring. Raymarine has led this innovation wave with technologies that make boating safer. And now with YachtSense, it's simpler to stay connected and in control. Let's check it out. With me now is Josh Wilson, Technical Services Manager at Raymarine. And Josh, I understand you are heavily involved with the development and design.
I actually moved to the UK for about 5 years to actually work on the project and kind of build out and design the system. It's great to be able to bring it home and use it with a legendary Aussie boat builder like Maritimo.
So that's a lot of work's gone into it, and you know it intimately. Can you give us a sort of overview of what you set out to achieve and how it works?
Essentially what it's all about is just giving boat owners a bit more situational awareness about what's going on inside the boat. Obviously what Raymarine specialises in with cameras and radar and sonar systems is all about situational awareness outside the boat. But we didn't have anything for the systems inside, like the generators and the engines and the bilges and all of these kind of things that are just as critical to the experience of using a boat, but sometimes can be a bit more mysterious and less well integrated. So the idea with YachtSense was to create a really reliable platform to connect all of the boat's systems into the Raymarine network, which then can kind of feed that information to you in a really intuitive way, whether you're at the helm or at home on the couch.
Boats have become a lot more complex these days. How important is it for, this would be run by a family typically, how important is it to simplify the control and the connectivity?
Oh, that's absolutely critical, These types of systems have been ubiquitous on super yachts for decades, But, and obviously, we're on a 55-foot sedan, it's not a super yacht, but so the systems are less complicated, but the crew is typically a family, as you say, so it's really important to kind of simplify that aspect of it. So because you're busy doing other stuff, there's kids running around, someone needs to make dinner and stuff, and you've also got to, keep an eye on the generators, make sure the batteries aren't going flat and the bilges aren't filling up. So it has the same purpose, but it's just a slightly different way of using it. Yeah.
So we're at anchor now. What typically would you be doing if you go ashore? What are some of the features you can use when you're on board the boat?
Oh, well, when you're on board the boat, it's you can control basically everything through it. Like the lighting system and everything is connected through it. The bilges, generators, batteries, tank levels, all of that is connected through it. And basically it's just kind of ticking away in the background, and it'll let you know if anything's going wrong. You don't really have to interact with it all the time if you don't want to. It's there, keeping an eye on things for you.
Sometimes the boat might go drifting off if you're not particularly good at anchoring. Can you set alarms and do all that type of thing as well?
Of course. There's a mooring watch feature built into the app. So essentially you can, just motor off, go to a restaurant or something, and then if you're a little bit unsure if you had it on a good anchorage, you can just check in on it at any time. And again, if it detects that you're dragging anchor, it'll notify you and you can get your way back to the boat before it becomes a problem.
Fantastic. From a security point of view, you might be away from the boat overseas, you can still monitor your boat wherever you are in the world, is that right?
Yeah, anywhere with the internet, yeah. That's one of the key benefits of connecting all this stuff to the internet.
A lot of other systems do similar work. There are other monitoring and there are other control systems. I guess this package brings everything together, is that right? What's unique about YachtSense?
Yeah, it's certainly the idea is that it basically it's a completely unified system from a single manufacturer, great global support system, and there's even some quite unique features where maintenance crews or boat builders or even Raymarine technical support can actually log in remotely and download diagnostic data and stuff. So as the boat goes forward in the future, resolving issues and diagnosing problems is just infinitely easier than it would be without it.
How important is it for manufacturers then to embed it at the start rather than sort of the retrofit model?
Yeah, I think it tends to work better from a business perspective when it's actually kind of designed into the boat systems. Obviously, yeah, it's possible to do as a retrofit, but the core of it and the core of the kind of market and demand for it is really driven by the boat builders, because again, it makes it easier for them to support their product.
It looks like a little black box on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on the inside of that?
A lot. Basically, there's a connection point for almost every single device on board. You don't have to connect everything through it, and you don't even really have to use it or interact with it. It's just kind of sitting there ticking away in the background. And you look around on this boat, I mean, it still has a traditional circuit breaker panel. It still has light switches on the wall and buttons on the helm to turn things on and off. It's still exactly the same way to operate it if you want to, but you know, in the event that you know, for example, you hop into bed and you think, oh, did I turn the underwater lights off? You can just get your phone out and do it. You don't actually have to get up. And also just for peace of mind's sake, being able to confidently say the batteries on my boat aren't flat while you're 1,000 miles away is you know, helps you sleep, I think.
If you add units like a radar or thermal imaging or something further down the track after you've bought the boat, can you add modules to your system to keep control?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is expandable like that, and that's another one of the reasons and the kind of unique features that makes it really popular with the boat yards, because they may have a list of catalogue options to add a second fridge or add a spotlight at the top and stuff like that. And every boat that comes off the line is kind of slightly different in different ways. So we've actually designed the system to be expandable, like very easily expandable. So practically at the end of the production line, they can kind of add things at the 11th hour with not that much hassle. Really. Yeah.
What about the smaller boats? Is obviously the more complex, the more valuable your system is, particularly if you're not as smart as that unit. What sort of boats do you think could also benefit from it, you know, as looking closer to the entry level? Yeah,
well, I mean, we put it on some absolutely tiny ones. I think the digital control system side of things, I mean, if you've got like a 20-foot center console or something like that, there's a lot less benefit to that. You'd only be connecting, half a dozen things through it, and yeah, there's a lot. It's still interesting, but probably a lot less benefit. But when you add like something like the YachtSense link for the internet connectivity, I mean, it's just so valuable. Any boat that kind of lives in the water can potentially be stolen, because it tracks the position and everything of it too. So as a general theft prevention, accident prevention, and general just maintenance tool.
Really impressed how elegant the system is. So like the user interface on that big screen looks really great.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Yeah, and it's completely customized for this boat and this boat build. You'll notice it's branded with Maritimo branding. It's got the actual floor plan of the boat. You can touch the individual rooms to turn the lights on and off and stuff like that. And again, it's just all about making these complex systems simpler and freeing up a bit of space on the dash.
So from a user friendliness point of view, can you set up different modes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's totally customizable in terms of what you can make it do. So like, for example, rather than having to run around the boat every time you leave, checking that all the light switches are turned off and that the fresh water pump's off and batteries are isolated and these kinds of things, you can literally just have a button on the screen that's out in the cockpit, and as you're walking off the boat, just boat off, boom, and everything ends up in the state that it needs to be in to leave the vessel. So just quick and easy.
Fantastic. So peace of mind and also knowledge is power when you're on a boat too, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and to basically have these advanced computer systems just keeping an eye on everything for you is, absolutely critical. Yeah.
Fantastic, Josh. Thanks so much for explaining that.
No worries, Mark. Thank you.
It is an absolute pleasure to introduce Tom Barry-Cotter, Managing Director of Maritimo. And Tom, before we talk about YachtSense, tell us a little bit about that magnificent S55.
Yeah, the Maritimo S55 sedan, it's an exciting model for us and been picked up all over the globe. So we've seen a lot go into North America, into New Zealand, and then all across Australia, obviously. So there's a bunch of features there that are very unique to that. So huge volume boat with, a lot of living accommodation, a lot of expansive living spaces aboard for families and those that want to sort of bring a lot of people on and entertain. And then you have all of those adventuring features as well. So you've got the adventure deck, you've got that all-weather cockpit area there where you can enclose that in. And then of course you've got the hardtop utility deck, which allows you to store a really good sized tender and store all of those items for those sort of long-range adventuring expeditions that you can go on, and take all those supplies and toys that is going to make that adventure really unique.
Where we are at the factory, some distance away, but you can still monitor your boat.
Yeah, when we started talking to Raymarine about YachtSense, it's one of those things owners are looking for, that peace of mind, and that's something, to have that bit more connectivity with their boat.
There's no doubt these new smart technologies have greatly enhanced the boating experience. With YachtSense, you get convenience when you're aboard and peace of mind when you're not. And that sounds pretty sensible to me. I'm Mark Rothfield for Club Marine TV. I'll see you next time.